Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
Well, hello there and a welcome. Welcome to I don't know, take a pick. Is it too loud?
There we go.
Yeah, okay. All right. And now the dulcet tones. Lynn Cullen rattling around your cranium. A word that Myron Cope loved.
Yeah.
Cranium. All right.
What?
Got this.
All right. Now we're set.
Well, I wanted to ask you,
Yeah.
for some reason this year it just doesn't feel like Christmas to me. I don't know why. Don't make any smart remarks. I don't know. Does it?
I thought making smart remarks is why you brought me on here every week.
Well, what's this? I mean, is that just me?
I think so.
Oh, okay, it's just me.
I mean, I have a 2-year-old, so it's a little different.
It's very Christmassy. Yes.
We decorated the tree last night.
All right, so then.
And he put up his first ornaments. We got it on film. If anybody wants to see
maybe because I'm an empty nester.
That could be.
Rattling around my house by myself.
Oh, that's so sad. Do you want to come over?
No. I'm just fine. Thank you very much. Okay, but anyway, so the war on Christmas stuff.
Oh dear. Okay. What's the latest? What's the latest dispatch from the front?
On Wednesday night, Megyn Kelly.
Right.
Do you know who she is?
Yes. The blonde bombshell on Fox.
Well, that doesn't narrow the field particularly. Don't they have? That's all
yeah,
they
but
have.
she's actually really attractive.
Oh, do you really think she's really attractive?
I think she's very smart too. Is the other thing. She's quite.
Well, we are about to disabuse you of that notion.
No, I think she is smart. Although I think I know where you're going with this. But yeah, go ahead.
On Wednesday night, Megyn Kelly declared on her Fox News show that both Santa Claus and Jesus were white.
Yeah.
Oh, this damn thing cut off the right side again. I won't get her quote exactly right, but she said, she told people who want to make Jesus darker skinned or Santa black, for heaven's sakes, that, just because a white Santa or a white Jesus makes you feel uncomfortable, it doesn't mean that you have to change it. Jesus was a white man.
Yep.
Jesus would have looked a little like, he would have looked Semitic. He would have looked dark, olive skin.
Like a person living in the Middle East would have looked at that time.
Sort of like my brother. Well, he looked like a Jew. I mean,
tall
what do you mean?
And sort of
troublemaker.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And she says, look, Jesus was a white man. It's like he's a historical figure. That's a verifiable fact, said your genius, Megyn Kelly.
Wow. They make her do that stuff.
How do you revise it in the middle of the story?
Wait, she said, how do you revise it in the middle of the story?
Middle of the legacy in the story. And change Santa, now she's back to Santa, from white to black. As if...
Yeah. So, we do assume that she's aware Santa does not
exist.
Oops. Now we've given it away for all the 9-year-olds who listen to this show, but...
Yeah, well...
I mean, really. Maybe she should write a letter to the Sun newspaper and ask them what color Santa Claus really is, and they can say, yes.
Yes,
Megyn
Virginia.
Kelly.
Yes,
Megyn Kelly. Santa was a honky.
Santa has no color. Well, actually, the fact is living up there in the North Pole, he probably would be very white.
I don't know.
Well,
this is Eskimos and Inuits and whatever. They're Asiatic, are they not? I mean, they came over on the land bridge and stayed there and everything. And
yeah.
Oh, they're not pale. I mean, I think you're thinking of like those, what are they? Norwegians. Swedes. But not everybody who lives up there looks like a Swede.
There's some dark-haired people?
Yeah, most of your Inuit types
natives.
and
yes,
folk, yeah.
That's right. May I make a topic request for tomorrow's show? I think this was written yesterday.
Okay.
After hearing your hilarious
Oh, Lordy.
No.
Please,
No.
thank you.
No. We're not going. No.
Well, now I'm gonna have to listen to yesterday's show.
No, that wasn't yesterday's, but I think that was Monday's. But
Oh boy,
people haven't gotten over it. It's sort of been a recurring theme.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it started it is a commercial. All right, always stop. But it was an advertisement on page 2 of the Tribune Review.
Yeah.
Which I noticed.
Yeah.
And was just appalled by.
So they're gunning after our advertisers? I'm going to have to start taking these guys seriously.
Do you advertise?
No, I don't think so. No, but I just... It seems like the kind of ad we should run. I'll need to have a talk with Paul or Jeremy.
Well, you might be able to
out on some real business opportunities there.
Because when it came up that anal bleaching is actually something, I said, well, where do you go to have your anus bleached? Do you know? Do they have little signs out in front? We bleach anuses? God. All right, we'll stop. We won't get this started again.
Well, that they probably do. It's like that product. That product Anusol, which is one of the great,
What's Anusol?
I think it's a hemorrhoidal cream or something like that, or I don't actually even know what it is, but you see, it's basically the word anus with an OL on the end of it. And some marketing genius said, "Here's your problem. You got to find a way to convince people to not pronounce that thing
anus
the way it actually should be pronounced." And once you do that, you can just put commercials on.
So, when you grew up, did you learn to say Uranus?
Yes. That was a part of every young American male's education at some point, I'm
Uranus.
Sure. Yeah.
And all of a sudden, when was it?
Uranus.
All of a sudden it did. It became
it's the
Uranus.
same thing. That planet must have hired the same Madison Avenue firm that Anusol was.
All right, we won't.
There's a guy, that's just what his job is. So he's probably working on the anal bleaching account.
Uh-huh. Well,
see, we did it anyway. I hope we didn't let you down, Joseph.
Not really.
Yeah,
I mean,
thanks.
we were talking about why, because I just still don't get it. But then I'm clueless. You, as a young stud, maybe understand.
Oh no, once you get married, your anal bleaching days are pretty much over.
Right.
Just letting myself go.
Once you get married, your sex life is pretty much gone too.
Okay.
So, all right. So the greatest story of the week, without a doubt, what?
I know what you're going to say.
Well, you do?
Yeah.
What is it?
Yes! Translator guy.
It's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
The translator guy, it just keeps getting better. Because now that he has verbally spoken, the guy's stark raving mad.
Yeah, so it would seem.
How do you... I gotta practically disrobe before I can get on an airplane because we're so security-minded. Meanwhile, the heads of state of the nations of the world were standing 1 inch away from this guy who even said that he does
Sometimes
have
violent episodes.
I have violent episodes. I see angels and hear voices and have violent episodes. I mean, that guy could have just turned around. I mean, my God! And nobody is saying who hired him, where he came from, is beyond belief. It really is beyond belief.
Has it been demonstrated that he is capable of doing sign language and just had an episode?
It said that Zuma had used him before, but that his language is Xhosa.
Yes,
I don't know how to pronounce it exactly, and it ain't English, which is what was being.
Right.
So, I mean, he was. So maybe
he was just out of his depth. And
maybe he can sign.
Wow, that's like a nightmare from high school. The whole world's like when you have to go up to the board.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the whole world's looking at you, and then all of a sudden people start talking to you. You realize
I don't know
how to translate this.
It is. It's like a.
But wait, does he speak English? I haven't seen any
Yeah. Well, here's how he sounds when he speaks English.
Yeah.
What happened that day? I see angels come to the stadium. I start realizing that the problem is here. And the problem is here. And what he's talking about is my craziness. My craziness has come.
Yeah.
And the problem, I don't know the attack of this problem. How will it come? Sometimes I get violent on that place.
Yeah.
Sometimes I will see things chasing me. I was in a very difficult position. And remember, those people, the president and everyone, they were armed.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he's heard all Americans are armed. He probably thought Obama was packing.
Yeah.
The president, they were armed.
You know, President Cruz will be.
That's right. There was armed police around me. If I start panicking, I'll start being a problem. I have to deal with this in a manner so that I mustn't embarrass my country. Yeah. Oh, God.
That wildebeest is out of the barn, my friend.
So he speaks English, but not great.
Yeah.
And he says, I think I have been a champion of sign language.
He certainly raised its profile.
And you know what? The poor guy got paid for standing there for 4+ hours in this, doing all that. $77.
Oh, it's worth every penny of it.
No, it's like being a panelist on 4802.
With even less expectation that you make sense.
So anyway, by the way, those of you who are fans of that program, we will not be. No, next week we'll be there, but not this week. I'm not sure why. Actually, I have been trying to talk Heather and Bill into unionizing, so we could maybe up our,
I can think of two no more sympathetic people for you to reach out to than Heather Heidelbaugh and Bill Green.
Well, given what we're paid
for collective action.
Yes, I haven't gotten anywhere with them yet, but I am working on it.
So wait, is it just the three of you?
No, and then there's Valerie McDonald.
Oh, okay. So so really, you only need one of them because you basically just need more than 50% of your bargaining unit.
I'd have a better shot, Bill Green or Heather Heidelbaugh?
I don't know.
Be rough.
I don't know.
Well, but I'm thinking, you got the fast food workers. Why can't you have the 4802 panelists? Yeah.
I mean, Heidelbaugh's a working mom.
Yeah,
she could use the money, probably more than Bill Green could.
Yeah, Bill Green strikes me as somebody who's got money. Where'd he get that money?
From his political consulting business.
Oh, all right.
So, yeah.
All right. I suppose you want to do a show or something.
I just show up here at 10 o'clock. What happens? What happens from there is pretty much in your hands, my dear.
Oh, dear Lord. So, I don't want you to bore me with this, but I do want some explanation. If it's no, let's not. I just see this thing about there is troubles between the outgoing Ravenstahl administration and the incoming Peduto that has to do with money and pensions and finance. And that, is this a big deal? Is this Ravenstahl being a jerk? Is this what? I mean, well, will you, in normal language, explain to me?
Let me just say, by way of preface,
and I'll.
I wrote a 1,500-word blog post about this yesterday, so I'm going to try and not inflict that on people. Oh, you're going to. Oh, now see, you did. The Today Show had to apologize for that yesterday. Is all I'm saying.
Making fun.
They had somebody making fun of it. I think. I'm trying to help you out here. You're going to have like disability advocates being really pissed off at you. There we go. That's nice. What were we talking about? Okay, so here's the background of this is this. There's a pension fund, and the city makes contributions to it every year. And what determines the size of the size of that contribution is a series of estimates about a variety of things. So, for example, the pension fund has to say, well, how many people will we have retiring, and how long will they live? And then the key one for today's discussion is, how much can we earn from investing that money in the meantime? Because people don't use it. It sits in an account, so they go and they invest it in the stock market or at the Rivers Casino or whatever they do. So if you assume
Bernie Madoff.
Yeah, if you assume you're going to get a big return on your investments, then the city has to contribute less money because you're getting all this money from investments.
Okay, so
if
where
you
do
assume
they
a lower return,
do they go to a psychic to determine this stuff?
No, what they do is they take an estimate. And this is the big question, the assumption. The city for a while now has used an 8% assumption. They assume every year their money they're going to be able to plow into mutual funds or whatever, and they're going to get an 8% return.
I think that is.
The argument is
I think that's ridiculous.
This is too high.
Way too high.
But here's the thing. Here's the rub. If you lower that estimate, you have to raise the amount that the city contributes, and thus what we pay in taxes or what. Or
well, so do you deal with reality or do you look at things through rose-colored glasses?
This is the question. For years, the Ravenstahl administration has preferred to look at it through rose-colored glasses, because what they know, of course, is that if the bill comes due someday, but it won't be on their watch, and in the meantime, they want to hire workers and keep taxes low and fill potholes. Yes,
I have a question.
Okay.
So may I ask, given the fact that Ravenstahl then we can look back and see how. Yes. So he's thinking there'll be 8%. How much did the investment yield?
I don't know what the number that I have seen is over the course of time. You remember, you really have to look over the long haul at this, because if you look just in the past few years, everything is sort of thrown off by the huge collapse in 2007, 2008, and the resurgence or whatever. I've been told that over the long haul, the return has been closer to 6%.
And that seems like a more
reasonable,
reasonable
thing.
I think. You have to be okay.
Okay, so this is right. This is and I think most people who look at this and who are fiscal, I don't want to say conservatives, but people who believe in honest budgeting would agree with you. Among the people who would agree with you has been in the past Bill Peduto himself. You can go and you can look on the Bill Peduto campaign website, and he says, pretending that we're going to earn 8% returns is, just deludes us and prevents us from seeing the scope of the problem. Similarly, City Controller Michael Lamb, for the past couple of years, has been banging on about this and saying we need to reduce this to 7.5%. The mayor has been vociferously against it. In fact, when last summer, when City Controller Michael Lamb wanted to study what it would mean to go to 7.5%, the mayor said, "I don't even want to study it because I know what's going to happen."
Well, wait a minute. So that's just taking it down that little bit.
That's half a percentage point. But the effect of that half a percentage point
is then the city has to raise revenue.
Has to up its contributions by between $5 and $10 million a year.
That's for
not
5%.
Small.
For 5%.
For a half a percent.
A half a percent.
So last week, all of a sudden, the mayor, who again spent much of his tenure as mayor opposing this change, suddenly said, "Guess what? I'm for it." Yesterday, what's called the Comprehensive Municipal Trust Fund, Pension Trust Fund, which is the group that sets all of these things, sets all of these estimates, took a vote, and the mayor voted absentee. He voted by phone. City Controller Michael Lamb also voted by phone, and the mayor voted for the new change, and the mayor's own public safety director, Mike Huss, voted against it. Mike Huss voted in favor of the same 8% rate. Peduto's folks are pissed off.
Okay, so the mayor, who never under his tenure wanted it at 7.5, did with 2 hours left in his
with a couple weeks left, right?
Yeah.
And this is a special. This is not a regularly scheduled meeting.
Votes from his bed.
This was a special,
right.
maybe, or down the hall, maybe, because he didn't want to take questions about it. So this is a special meeting called for this purpose yesterday, 2 weeks before the end of the mayor's term. Now, Peduto's people are upset because they feel it ties their hands, quite rightly, because it probably will. And what they say is after the November election, they sent a letter to Ravenstahl's people saying, please don't make decisions that would bind us in any way without talking to us first. And they say that is not what happened here. So,
no, it's not, obviously.
So that's it. The mayor has not explained what prompted this sudden reversal.
Just tell what do you think?
But everyone thinks it's to leave it's the fiscal equivalent of taking all the W's off of your computer keyboard. Yeah. It's a way to screw them over. I mean, the problem for Peduto is Peduto himself has called for a lower rate. And what his future chief of staff, Kevin Acklin, said yesterday was, yes, it's true, we did call for that, but that was as part of other reforms that we sought, including some changes to state law and da-da-da-da-da, and they just cherry-picked this one thing, and now they're leaving us with the bill that they themselves didn't want to have to pay, without advocating any of the other suggestions. This was all supposed to be a big package deal. Now, that's you could argue with that, but that's what's going on. Essentially, the mayor has done this. He has left Bill Peduto with a bill he himself did not wish to pay, and now the question is whether Peduto is really stuck with it. There will be, when the new mayor comes in, he does get to it's a 7-member board. The mayor appoints 2 people, and then the city council president is another one who we don't know yet. So this is a thing. A lot of people.
They could
who the next
this?
city? Well, they could when they convene their next scheduled meeting. I think is in February. They could convene and vote to overturn that. I don't know legally whether they can do that or not. One thing that Michael Huss said yesterday, explaining why he was voting no, was, look, these guys will come in. We don't really have to budget this stuff until next fall, and we don't really have to put the numbers together until March. So why are we in this big hurry to do this thing when we've got a new board coming in and they'll have time to take action?
Well, the answer being that Ravenstahl wants to screw Peduto.
Yeah. So we will see.
This is so outrageous. I knew you could explain it to me. The paper I was trying to read and thinking, what the hell is going on? I cannot figure this out. Oh, there it is.
I mean, you could say the politics of it stink, right? I mean,
Ridiculous.
But you could argue, as a guy I respect very much argued on his blog this morning, Chris Bream over at the University of Pittsburgh argued, look, whatever the motivation of this is the right direction. This is the right for the very reason you said at the start, Lynn, which is a more realistic assessment. And as you say, hey, is 7.5%? If the annual return has really been 6%? Shouldn't we be talking closer to that if you really want to go down that road?
I mean, if 7.5, creates such a furor, imagine what a realistic return.
And so for Peduto coming in, let's say even if he does have the power to turn this thing around, does he want to? Do you want to put yourself in the position where one of the first things you do is reverse something you've been calling for and been saying was necessary for honest, transparent budgeting? Mm-hmm. I don't know if you can do that. And I will say this too. The one thing that has surprised me about this is Ravenstahl. Nobody paid attention to this. This happened last week, and it was tucked into news stories because everybody's been talking about this other early incentive plan that Peduto is trying to do, and that's where all the controversy is centered on that. Even though that will have a smaller impact on the budget than yesterday's vote.
Okay.
Nobody talked about it. When I saw that line in there, I actually called over to Team Peduto and left a message and said, what's going on with this thing where Ravenstahl is now willing to vote for this? Does that not violate the spirit of this agreement, this letter that you sent in November? And I didn't get a call back, and that was last week. They sent out a statement last week blistering the mayor for this other stuff about the incentive plan, but not mentioning this thing. And when it came up yesterday, Kevin Acklin brought it up at the very tail end of a press conference that was about all this other early incentive stuff. And it was a kind of almost like an afterthought, sort of, by the way, we've heard that this will happen. So one wonders whether this is actually not something that the Peduto people, whether they're really all that upset about it, and whether this is just sort of a making noise because they want to be able to blame the previous guy for.
Oh, I hate politics. I really.
But that's just my speculation. I want to be.
All right. No, I hear you, but I think, well, thank you. That did explain it.
There we go.
Oh my God.
See, aren't you glad you had me on?
Sadder but wiser girl. I am now. So I'm just putting this out to the audience. One of our regulars said yesterday's show there was no video.
Really?
He said, I checked your YouTube feed and watched the show from there, but there was no video. He said, I also noticed when watching that you only got one phone call. Well, that just means we only got one phone call.
That's the power of a topic like anal bleaching to really drive. People are probably bleaching their brains after listening to it. They're probably rinsing out their ear holes.
But it's not live on YouTube, so he didn't watch it.
No, he didn't watch it live, but he had to watch it later.
Yeah. Well, that's...
No, but he normally watches live video and...
Didn't work?
No.
So you,
and he said, did anyone else have a problem with your video feed yesterday? That's the question that one of our own is asking. And if you did, let us know because we're unaware of it. And phone calls, there's days where we don't get any. And that is no indictment necessarily of the program. I have, over the years, told myself that because otherwise... Otherwise, I would like blow my brains out or something after a few shows. I mean, like, no. There's some birds out there doing a pretty, pretty good murmuration kind of thing.
Yeah.
You see them?
You know what I was just thinking?
Woo, yeah. What?
That would be a good time to do a commercial.
Oh my
Suck,
God!
girl.
How did so much?
When you're talking
Time
pensions,
on.
the minutes just fly by.
Wow! Look at murmuration. All right.
Very good.
All right. Why do I feel like you're patronizing me?
I can't imagine.
All right, we'll be back.
Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com or call Lynn at 412-316-3381. Lynn Cullen Live will return in a moment.
Pittsburgh City Paper's special pullout, City Living at its Best, is available now. Pick up one today for a look at the all-diverse real estate options in the Golden Triangle. Plus, Rich Angler, Holiday Pops at Hines Hall, Nebraska, and News of the Weird. Pittsburgh City Paper available at over 1,700 locations throughout Western Pennsylvania. And on the web at pghcitypaper.com, on your smartphone at citypapermobile.com, and check out the new CP Haps app, available for download from iPhone App Store and Google Play.
Welcome to Move Time Radio, presented by the Arthritis Foundation, and we're smack dab in the middle of our dance-a-thon to fight arthritis pain. Me, I've been grooving for 10 hours straight, baby, but I'm a boogie machine. See, movement is just one of the ways to help fight osteoarthritis pain. Another is weight loss. You get rid of just 1 pound. That's 4 pounds of pressure off each knee. For more information on managing pain, visit fightarthritispain.org. Then meet me on the dance floor. This message brought to you by the Arthritis Foundation and the Ad Council.
Now, it's back to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com.
You've got to share that. That's so cute. What you don't have to say who said it, or you can't.
No, I can't.
Okay, so
I don't think you mind
that's
at all.
so
So,
cute.
so one of the board members of the trust fund thing is Joe King, who's the longtime head of the firefighters union and represents the firefighters on this trust fund board, because obviously they have somebody kind of looking out for their interests on it. And he voted for the change, and was talking to reporters afterwards, and he was just talking about Peduto and stuff and how he disagreed with him. He just said, you can't fool somebody like me. I've got myself a PhD. You know what that is? A Pittsburgh high school diploma.
I love it.
He's those guys, man. Like, if you don't love listening to people like that and talking to people like that, you have no business covering stuff in Pittsburgh. I love
those
guys define the city in ways both positive and not so positive.
I love it.
But yeah.
I just love that.
Pittsburgh high school diploma.
And you said he's smart as a whip.
Oh yeah, he is. People. I mean, a lot of progressive types probably don't want to admit it, but that guy is sharp. Don't ever underestimate Joe King.
I love it. And is that he never went to college?
I don't think so. No. But yeah, this is a guy who can tell you backwards. He knows his own members' actuarial tables. He can tell you when they retire. He can tell you what their average what their average life expectancy is. He knows all that stuff off the top of his head. And he was like yesterday. He's like, I've got Bill Peduto on tape saying 7.5% was a good number. Do you believe me? You want to go see the tape? Yes. I was like, Mr. King, I am sure you have that tape. There's not a doubt in my mind that you have that on your desk.
So he was a firefighter who...
Yeah. He became a union officer.
I see, he became the union officer, this and that. See, we have a call. That's one, if anyone's keeping track. Hello?
Hello.
It's Clarence. Hello, Clarence.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine.
I was wondering if the guy was serious about the PhD or whether he was just joking.
No,
joking. Yeah. We all someday. I think I actually did write a headline once, which was "You must be Joe King."
It's hard not to hear it when you say Joe King.
You know how difficult it is for me not to say those kind of jokes?
Oh, I know.
Well, obviously you failed in any efforts this morning.
Look, if you've got an aptitude for that, you should get a job writing headlines for us, because I have to churn 15 of those out a week.
I actually think in puns. My brain is constantly thinking like that all the time.
Yeah. You really should.
You said the name. I'm joking. That's funny.
You really need to get a career in headline writing. In fact, you want to hear my headline writing pun? Or it's the great story. This is actually, and this is a Christmas themed thing, and it comes to us via Brian O'Neill.
Okay.
The columnist of the Post-Gazette. Brian, before he came here, used to work at a paper down in Virginia. In a county, and the paper served a number of counties in the sort of rural area, and one of them was Wise County. And I'm not kidding you. On Christmas Eve, there was a car accident in which there were 3 fatalities, and the headline for this was 3 wise men die on Christmas Eve. Now, here's the thing about that. You think about it, you think
correct.
You think, all those guys probably had families, they had loved ones who probably would not have, and you are maybe potentially adding to their heartache and suffering at this time of year, and yet that's only going to happen once in your lifetime in your career. That is God just serving you up something. It's just like I don't know if you could pass it up.
3 wise men die.
It's like a gift.
Exactly.
On Christmas Eve.
The gift of the wise men.
That's right.
Was to die.
Now, here's something I can't put the words together, but you're talking about headlines.
Yeah.
And all I'm thinking is both you and I have receding headlines.
Oh.
And there's a joke there somewhere. I just can't put it together.
Right, yeah. Yeah, and I never get tired of hair loss jokes, Clarence.
Well, he doesn't have any.
Yeah.
I don't have any either.
All right, well, yeah.
Oh, by the way, I was having a good day until I heard the arthritis commercial. Because that guy has the voice that I want.
Oh.
Do we have an arthritis commercial? Oh, I didn't hear it. He has a voice
that I want. I want that guy's voice. It's great.
Oh, I didn't even hear it.
We'll have to listen to it. Like what is it? Like just sort of like it's a
voice of God kind of voice.
Yeah.
He has that cool black guy voice.
Oh yeah, I did hear that. Yeah.
Cool.
I did hear that, and I was kind of like, "What is this ad for?" But
well, since you can do voices, why don't you just employ that voice?
I do use it on the phone, but what happens is people, when I meet them, they're like, "Whoa, it's a black guy." But once in a while, I have to change my voice up, to sound like I'm actually African American.
So your normal voice, people don't hear black male when you're talking.
And for a long time, I tried to get rid of the Pittsburgh accent and sound like almost like a news guy. Just to use a phrase, I tried to sound vanilla.
Yeah, white bread. Yeah. So, so you can turn. I once thought the funniest thing I ever heard was, I think it was Chris Rock. No, wasn't Chris Rock. It was Chris Rock or, what's his name? The guy who just...
Richard Pryor.
No, the younger walked away from...
Dave Chappelle.
No.
Yes, Chappelle.
Oh, Dave Chappelle, right. Yeah.
Dave Chappelle.
Right.
Talking about how you do a white accent. We all know how to do a black accent. And he says, well, there's a specific way to sound white. And he goes into it immediately, and it's a riot. It is white.
Yeah.
But he was explaining what it is, certain kinds of vowels and present, and he just, white people think that we don't sound a certain way, generically. Right. Oh yeah.
Right.
It's interesting. I see a lot of comedy. I'm almost addicted to it. Just watching stand-ups.
Yeah.
I've never seen that bit, but I'm going to look it up.
Yeah.
After your show's over.
Okay, well...
Thanks, Clarence. That's the kind of listener, that's the kind of audience we want. Thank you, sir.
You know what? Yeah, because I noticed that you posted... I like to go to, after you talk about stories, go to the Facebook page and see if you post them.
Yeah.
So I can repost them if I really
should find that one then.
So that's like a good idea, too.
Start looking for that bit there, Jess. All right.
I hope I'm right that it was Chappelle, but I think it was. And
I'll find it.
If it wasn't Chappelle, it was Chris Rock.
I think it was Dave Chappelle.
I think it was Dave Chappelle, too.
It had to be Chappelle, but I've seen everything Chris Rock has done.
Okay, and Chappelle's just a genius. Yeah, including the thing on hair. That really blew me away, his hair documentary.
I'm going to watch something interesting.
But Chris Rock's?
I haven't seen
It's Chris Rock, Louis C.K., Jerry Seinfeld, and Ricky Gervais. I think it's called Talking Funny or something like that.
Right.
They're just sitting around talking about comedy.
Right.
That's really good.
I bet. I bet. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. And happy Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Happy Friday the...
Right.
It is?
Dun, dun.
Bye. It is? It
Dun,
is. It's Friday the 13th. So what?
Apparently Jess has already had some terrible crap happen to her because she's all glum.
Oh, my God.
Hey, you know what I heard today driving in on NPR?
No.
I heard that the whole idea that people get depressed in the winter is bull. That while there is such a thing as seasonal affective disorder, it is a minority of people who truly do suffer from that. And in fact, this guy was saying it must just be sort of a media-created thing because there's no data whatsoever. In fact, data seem to show the opposite. Suicides go down in the winter, go up in the spring. There is no, he said it's just bull. Now, whether this guy knows.
So did he say like where he thought it came from, or?
Yes, he said it came, he thought, from a paper written, I forget when, not too, 20 years ago by a psychoanalyst that was published in the psychoanalytic journal about during the holidays, people getting more depressed about, failed relationships and memories of, not getting the right present under the tree and stuff like that.
Sure.
And so he did something like that, and he thinks that was the kind of story that media just glommed on. Question. And then it became a self, just perpetuating. So
when people say, as people in my life do, that they feel like that's true for them, are they wrong if they say they feel more depressed in the colder months?
I don't know. I mean, look, I heard a snippet on NPR. All of a sudden, I'm a...
Yeah, but that's how these things get started.
Right.
Somebody heard a snippet 20 years ago about seasonal affective disorder, and they were like, son of a bitch, that sounds right.
They said there's just no data.
Yeah.
No data that back it. And this guy, apparently, he was talking, he's a big data guy. He says, you go looking for this, okay, let's...
Yeah.
It might even be like a Snopes kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where, you can't find any real evidence that this is true. People just assume it. It's darker, it's cold, we're stuck inside.
It lines up with people's expectations of reality, so, yeah.
But suicide, so when the spring comes, people start killing themselves. So, I mean, there's the data.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Think that's an allergy thing? I just can't take it anymore.
We have an email. Hey guys, it's really corny, but watch the video that surfaced to counter the Mandela signing controversy. The video is of a little girl signing to the songs her and her classmates are singing. Really saccharine.
But heartwarming.
We don't do heartwarming. What?
She did it for her parents.
Her parent, Jess is telling us that little girl's parents were deaf, and so she did it
for them.
For them.
Did you see it?
Yeah.
Did you cry?
No.
You didn't cry?
It was
well,
if cute.
Jess,
all right, if Jeff,
Jess says it's not that cute,
and Jess
is like, Jess is one of those cat picture people.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Jess likes to look at photos of my kid more than I like to look at photos of my kid. And yet her heart remained largely unwarmed.
I mean, it was cute.
She said, it was cute. Yay.
Jess is getting cynical. She's getting jaded. Maybe she's got that seasonal affective disorder.
No, she loves rainy days. She loves.
Oh, I'm that way too.
She hates sun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, she's whatever.
Speaking of these things.
Okay, StubHub, which has data.
Yes.
And they looked at their data, and they say there has been a steep decline in resale prices for Steeler games.
Yeah.
Home Steeler games since 2011. And another study by some Emory University guys has found that Steeler fans are the most depressed.
Yeah, I totally believe that.
After a loss of any fans in the NFL.
Yep.
So what does that mean exactly? That it mean that the other cities' fans somehow recover better after a loss than Steeler fans, who actually do fall into total depression.
I mean, we just talked about the danger of sort of pot.
I I know.
So I want to take that and take that into account, but it does sort of confirm
to us.
It does sort of conform to the sense that I've always had that there's probably to an unhealthy extent do we associate ourselves with this team's. It's the downside of the thing that everybody likes to praise on the other end, which is like, well, it's such a football crazy town, but crazy has two faces.
If you live and die with the team, and this shows that, like, oh yeah, because the Steelers generally do really well, so you feel big, and then when they fail, you feel diminished, depressed. And you can see, but so it's interesting though that just the culture here glommed onto that more. And I'm more. What do you? Okay.
I think it's also a matter of expectation, right? I mean, with the Pirates,
not necessarily.
The Pirates, people got excited this season, even if they didn't really get very far in the playoffs because they had low expectations. Whereas for the Steelers, you have high expectations. Go ahead, caller.
Good morning. Do you guys think that this is along economic lines? I've always wondered about this because people who, and I do, who go to games. They're season ticket holders. They may share season tickets, and they're fine. They have a business, whatever. But then I know people who go from job to job for whatever. I don't know. Do you think it's along economic lines?
That ticket prices are going down because...
No. I'm talking about the depression.
Oh.
Because it depends. I can group all the people I know who I can say, yeah, he's depressed or he puts too much into the NFL, whatever. His life is all about football in one group. And all the people who say, well, they lost. Okay, life goes on. We'll go to the mall Sunday or I'll get ready for work for Monday. They just let it go. But the people who don't, who become depressed, I could put them all in one category. They're all the same personality, and they all, in my opinion, these people that I know, all have the same economic background.
Which is a precarious
working class,
precarious background.
No, not necessarily, but it's just I'm talking just income level, job prospects, educational attainment.
You would say working class type folks.
Yeah. Do you guys think there's a parallel there?
I don't know.
I don't know about that either. So you're saying that they glom on to this team that makes them feel more important, better?
It's sort of the Obama, we cling to our guns and religion, except our religion is Steelers football. Is that kind of what you're saying?
You took the words right out of my mouth. Yeah. I was about to say religion, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know, but this is the kind of thing that sociologists will, can make hay with.
Yeah.
This. Yeah. But there's something different happening here.
Yeah.
Than in other cities.
I do think part of it is we've been, the Steelers nation has been lucky for the past, more than a decade. Obviously the 80s were pretty rocky. So you've got sort of a generational thing. You got people who stuck it out here and remember the 1970s, and so everything gets measured according to that. And then when the Steelers really sucked in the 80s, everybody was leaving town anyway. So you've got the people who are like, and then you got like the people who've been here maybe in the past 15, 20 years who remember actually the Cowher era and the early Tomlin years as being pretty good. So everybody has a pretty high standard of expectation here for what the team should perform like, and we are quick to be disappointed.
Oh.
I think that's part of it. I'm not saying that I'm not saying I don't agree or disagree with you. It would be an interesting
But I
thing
would
to look
say
at.
I have said, and I know people get mad at me for doing so. My sense of Steeler fans is that they are the expectations are ridiculously high, almost a sense of entitlement that, of course, we win, and unbelievably ridiculous sort of over-the-top anger when things don't go well. Yeah. And also, I think they're sort of fair-weather fans.
Yeah, but that's the flip side of that. You're quick if you have high expectations. You're quick to disappointment.
The fact that there's no one's going anymore, that no one wants to even buy the tickets, that doesn't happen in a lot of other cities when the team isn't necessarily winning. You go for a game.
It wouldn't happen in your hometown.
In Green Bay, it doesn't matter. It can be 50 below and they haven't won a game and the place is packed. But that is also, though, because that is such a center for that city. But wouldn't you think then that Green Bay fans would be the ones riding most on their team's fortunes because there's nothing else happening there? But they don't show up in this.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I don't get it, but yeah, it's interesting.
Football in this town is a weird culture. Lynn, you're from out that way, so maybe you agree. Maybe it might be the same in Chicago. I don't know, based on that Saturday Night Live skit we are all familiar with. But in this town, it's just the strangest thing. It might be the same thing as like the Maple Leafs in Toronto or the Rangers in New York.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. But
it's a little not right.
All right, thank you.
Thank
you for the call.
It's a little, weird. So then they sort of ranked them on the most unstable fan bases, meaning fans that go way up and way down, sort of like manic depressive fans.
Right.
And thank God we didn't come in first there. We came in second.
Who came in first?
Oakland Raiders fans.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and they actually kill people.
Wow, that's weird.
We came in second on that. We don't show well in this. The 5 happiest teams fans after wins, we're not there.
Where are they?
They just did the top 5 here. Yeah. I don't know. We're not.
Who are the top 5 happiest?
The happiest fan bases are New Orleans, Cleveland,
really,
Oakland, Seattle, Chicago.
Cleveland, really?
They're number 2.
God bless
Happy.
them.
And 5 saddest after losses. Number 1, Pittsburgh. 2, Detroit. 3, Patriots. 4, Miami. 5, Oakland.
Cleveland.
5 most stable fan bases. They're just sort of even.
Okay.
Number 1, Dallas. Yeah. Indianapolis Colts. Philadelphia Eagles?
That is I now call into question this entire methodology. Philadelphia fans are some of the most borderline personalities.
Yeah, it seems so.
On Moss that you will ever meet.
It seems so. Well, I don't know.
I now reject this study out of hand. Speak to me no more of it.
All right. Anyway, for those wanting more, this is a front page news in today's.
Of course it is.
Anything having Steelers.
Dave Sherman knows what side his bread is buttered on. Speaking of which.
Yes, bread? Buttered? What does that have to do with it?
I'm just saying, you got the bills to pay.
Yeah, and I'm saying, what? I'm supposed to take a break for some PSAs?
I thought so, yeah.
All right, okay, we will.
Maybe we'll hear that voice again.
Yes.
More is on the way with Lynn Cullen Live.
Go to the all-new BergBargains.com for the best deals on holiday gift cards from your favorite local restaurants, bars, museums, attractions, and shows. Log on now for great deals from Atria's, Fair Day, Rock Bottom, and Quantum Theater. Supplies are limited. The all-new BergBargains.com, Pittsburgh's best bargains. BergBargains.com.
Time for the holidays. Little's Shoes is your UGG headquarters. Little's has the largest selection of UGGs for men, women, and children to stay warm with shearling-lined boots, shoes, and slippers. Don't forget to get your hats, gloves, scarves, and more. Bring the entire family to view one of the largest in-store UGG shops in the U.S. All available at Little's Shoes, Pittsburgh's largest family shoe store. Forbes Avenue in Squirrel Hill or littleshoes.com.
Have a question or an opinion? Call Lynn Cullen at 412-316-3381 or email lynn at pghcitypaper.com. Now, more with Lynn Cullen Live.
I was saying there's so much talent in this world. There's so many people who can do stuff. And because of the internet, this is one of the good things. They can do it and then stick it out there And Joseph sent us saying, I'm sending you something to make you and Chris laugh out loud. And I thought, we'll be the judge of that. And we did.
It delivered.
It's, well, you describe. You're the wordsmith.
There's a big debate about whether to pronounce this GIF or GIF. So I'll
The debate has been Jeopardy. Do you know that Jeopardy had a question? It was like the final Jeopardy question, and what's a blah, blah, blah. And GIF is, and they said since Alex Trebek and Jeopardy said
really? I didn't
GIF,
realize he's the Oxford English Dictionary
GIF,
of American culture.
I think most people looking at it say GIF.
Anyway, it's one of those illustratable or animated things, and it features the sign language interpreter for that we were referencing earlier, standing next to Barack Obama, and somebody is very, very adroitly, I would say, sort of photoshopped into it a balloon sculpture, so it looks like he's making a balloon sculpture of a little doggy.
His hands, he actually makes.
He's actually twisting around the balloon. It's actually quite well done.
It's unbelievably
it's really good done. You should post that on your Facebook page. People would be digging on it.
Okay.
If you can, I don't know if you.
I'll send that on to.
I don't know how you guys
send that to you.
Anyway,
listen.
Thanks, Joseph. That was
yes,
well
it was
worth
a
the price
laugh.
of admission. There,
it was
sure.
a laugh.
So, what else, Lynn?
Oh, leave me alone. what else?
Oh, I'm sorry. You're busy emailing. I thought we'd finish the show first. This is the problem. It's the multitasking.
It is. I swear I did have something to talk to you about.
Now you've.
Well, have there been stories that are of particular interest to you these days? I got to tell you, the New York Times. Have you by any chance taken the time, because it would take time, to read the series that they've been running this week about a homeless child?
No.
I got to tell you, you know how some pieces have Pulitzer written all over them. Pulitzer. I just stop right now. This is the prize, and it is. God. I haven't had the time to just sit and really read it. It's about a homeless family of 8 children.
Good
8
Lord.
Young children in New York.
Wow, in the city itself?
In the city.
Wow.
And it focuses on the oldest girl. I think she's the oldest girl. I think her name's Dasani. And, wow, it'll rip your heart out.
Is this the series that prompted then the New York Post to do an editorial that was like?
Oh, maybe, I don't know.
There was some editorial that was like taking issue with Times coverage, and again, I just sort of follow this peripherally. My head's been in the world of pension for the past day or two. The Post was like. They were in some homeless shelter, and the Post is just like, these homeless shelters are too good for people. And it was sort of like, yes, there are roaches, mice, and the occasional sexual assault. However, that was just like we're coddling we're coddling this population or whatever.
All right, well,
we're paying people to not,
that might be.
We provide an actual social safety net. I'm just
no, they do. They live in one room of a shelter. 10 people.
Yeah.
In this family, and. I mean, obviously, the fact that they keep having children is mind-boggling.
Yeah. So what did they say about that?
Well, I don't know. I've read little bits of it, but you can't. First of all, the child herself is so gloriously charismatic, just in looking at her, just the still photos, plus the little bits I've seen. She sort of is the strongest person in the family.
And she's how old?
I don't know. I don't think she's more than 11 or 12. I don't know. You got to check it out. I'm going to spend the weekend reading it. It's probably like a small book. It's been about 4 full pages for the last 4 issues. I think.
4 pages a day, you mean?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's a biggie.
Yeah, that's huge.
And it's really...
And just in time for the holidays.
Just in time for the holidays.
Got a call. Oh, this show's hopping.
Yeah. Hey. Hello.
Hello. I haven't seen this New York Times piece, but for people that want to depress themselves with something they don't have to read, the Frontline thing several months ago on poor children living in poverty was a rare case of where I had to shut it off.
You couldn't take it.
So horrifying and depressing, these kids talking about going without food and things like that. It was a very powerful episode of Frontline, and I know you can watch them all online.
Yeah.
But,
was it rural poverty, urban poverty, just a whole bunch of different backgrounds?
The ones that I remember off the top of my head were actually kind of rural, and I think they were like in Oklahoma or Texas, but I think they were all over the country.
Yeah.
But they were kind of in small towns, if I remember, in the Midwest. That's the one I can remember. I don't remember all of them. So It was a similar, I don't know. It was also very powerful.
It really is, isn't it? Because it's mind-boggling. that in a country of such wealth and disparity that we would tolerate this.
Like, I often think about how I have no idea how the 1% lives, and I'm somewhere. I don't think I'm all the way at the bottom of the rung, but on the bottom rung. But these kids are living a life that I also don't understand, and that I think that I didn't read that piece in the Post that Chris was talking about, but I think better understanding of those people would prevent a lot of people from having the mindset expressed in the Post. But I don't know. I always think that, and no one ever seems to get there.
There's just
thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the call.
Thank you.
It is amazing. There's just a meanness in this country, isn't there? I mean, I was reading, and this wasn't a heart-wrenching piece or whatever, but it was just a piece by Matt Iglesias in Slate about this budget deal between Ryan and Patty Murray.
And how the food stamp part.
Well, it was actually, he was focused on the fact that there's no long-term unemployment benefits. And he said, and the headline of his piece was saying, like, the long-term unemployed are doomed. They're doomed. And he said, because what we know now is that if nothing else, an employer, one of the things an employer does is just cull out anybody who's been without a job for a while.
Yeah, they can't get a job anymore.
Because in fairness to the employer, I mean, they get a zillion applications because the economy stinks, and they find a way to winnow them down, and that's one of the little metrics they use. They figure if nobody else thought this guy was worth hiring, and I don't have the time to research every single one of these people, I'm just going to go with their gut. So these folks are gone, a lot of them. They may never return to the workforce. So what are we going to do with them? We're not going to pay their unemployment benefits. We're clearly not going to invest in any kind of serious job retraining for these folks. We're not going to, Iglesias suggested, there are some places in the country that have unemployment below 5%. North Dakota is an example. Maybe we should figure out a way to subsidize people to move to places where this might, but that's not going to happen. We're going to do nothing for these people. We have let them down, and Iglesias' argument is we've let them down by not doing enough to stimulate this economy. The fact that we still have 7% unemployment, and now people are worried that we're going to, take out the incentives from the Federal Reserve. Now, with unemployment still at 7%, we're letting them down again. It's an astounding thing when you think about it.
Meanness. Caller, go ahead. Caller?
No.
Hello. I sometimes feel so powerless about this. They're back. Hello.
Hey, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning, folks. This is your 5-minute filler.
No, we don't want a 5-minute filler.
Okay, how about a 3-minute?
No, just do a 1 minute.
Oh, okay, a 1 minute. This is George from Moon, of course.
Yes.
Okay, serious question. No, wait, I don't know what order to put this. Well, let me get the silly question out of the way first. Chris.
Yes.
What is the method that you use for keeping your dome warm in the wintertime? I notice you have a hoodie on.
I do.
But is that what you use to keep your head warm in this severe cold?
I have a little knit cap, and then I often flip this up over top of it.
Okay, that question's answered. What's your next one?
Okay, the next thing, not a question, but a commentary on exactly what you're talking about. Nobody was talking about the budget that was signed off on the defense appropriations last night.
Yeah.
Okay, and which is really despicable.
Yeah.
The Department of Defense is going to get what they want. Here it is, $81 billion just for next year for Afghanistan. Okay, of that, $1 billion will go for the purchase of Russian helicopters to equip the Afghanistan forces. Okay, and a yet to be determined amount to build a prison system in Yemen to replace Guantanamo. Now you know why the social situation here is so bad.
Yep.
Because all this money is flowing out through a particular department of the government, like defense.
Yep.
And I'm a veteran, and I've served and everything like that. But I get outraged when I see a gold-plated military going through that kind of cash for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Disgusting. So, it's just, no, going to hell. Thank you, George.
Thanks for the call, George.
Here's, I want to tell you something. The way I told is I feel so helpless. I did something last night.
Uh-oh.
No, and I thought to myself, if everybody just kept doing this, maybe we could help. But it's ridiculous. I went through a drive-through, and my bill was like $1.85 or something. I don't know. I get to the window. I gave her a 20, and I said, "Keep the change." I said, "Keep the change. You deserve more." And she turns around and screams into the thing. And they are all like speechless. And then I heard her say, "No one's ever, are you kidding me? Yeah. And I'm thinking, wow, $20. So if you're in the giving season, I mean, that's a way to spread the wealth a little bit. Just when you can, hand it to somebody who you know doesn't. And I got a free apple pie from her. She said, "Here, I'm apple pie." That's a piece. Well, I drove away feeling great.
Yeah.
She felt great.
Yeah.
That was a great $18. Do that. Do it when it's unexpected. You'll feel so wonderful. It doesn't solve the problem, but that's $20. I don't know. What are we supposed to do?
It reminds me of when back in the old days when they used to have hostages, in Beirut. Remember, there were always the hostages who were always there for 4 years or whatever.
Yes.
And one of them came out, and one of them finally got released. It might even have been that Terry Anderson. I can't remember. And they said, how did you keep yourself sane in that environment? He said, the best thing you could do for yourself, for your own well-being, is to give some of your food to the next guy. Even though, of course, he wasn't getting any more or less than you were. But the idea that by helping somebody else, you were sort of transcending that situation. It made you larger than yourself, and it made you larger than your captors. And that was the best way.
Giving.
To just get beyond the very kind of that feeling of helplessness. It was a thing you could do to empower yourself.
I drove away, and I burst into tears is what happened to me. But what do we do? What do we do? Spread the wealth. When you bump into these people who aren't making crap, give them some money. I swear, one-on-one, start giving people money. I'm going to become an eccentric old woman walking down the street.
I'll
get on the bus and walk. Here, please take it. Because what? I don't need all the money I've got.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah. It's outrageous that we don't have a more. It's just outrageous. So let's start something here. Go ahead, do it. You got a spare 20, don't you? Maybe not.
Maybe not.
A 10.
I got a 2-year-old.
A 5. Just say keep the change.
Yeah, I'm for that.
Just say keep the change.
I'm for the whole thing.
Okay?
Tip your baristas.
Tip your baristas,
and tip
Jess.
Those poor baristas.
Jess, who has to work at
Jess works another job.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tip your baristas. She's texting me last night. It's like close to midnight, and I say, "Go to bed." And she said, "I'm at work." I thought, oh, for God's sake.
Well, now I feel like an asshole. Anyway, it's been a great show. Folks, we'll see you on Monday. Have a great weekend.
Everybody's screwed! We're screwed!
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.